But first, a shocking story that's dominated the headlines this morning. 3 children have been killed and 8 others injured, along with 2 adults, following a knife attack at a Taylor Swift-themed holiday club in Southport yesterday. Taylor Swift herself has released a statement this morning. She said, "The horrors of yesterday's attack in Southport is washing over me continuously, and I'm just completely in shock. The loss of life and innocence and the horrendous trauma inflicted on everyone who was there, the families and first responders. These were just little kids at dance class, and I'm at a complete loss for how to ever convey my sympathies to these families." This is a parent's worst nightmare, isn't it, Cole?
Yeah. And that's the thing, I agree with what Taylor Swift and how there are no words. There are no words to convey your condolences because as parents ourselves, you know, it is your worst nightmare, your worst fear. But I was kind of listening to it all unfold and it's so shocking and so, for me, what is going on with the world, you know, that this is happening. However, there's also been talk of how we tackle it and, you know, should it be part of schooling and things like that. And I think, be very careful because as horrific, and that's the only word for it, horrific as it is rare, you know, although, you know, it's happened over years and years, but it's still a rare thing to happen. And I think we need to be very careful that we don't now terrify every primary school, middle school child of going anywhere. You know, we talk about so much more mental health nowadays with young people and young people riddled with anxiety. And to me, it's because now they see everything. Yeah. I mean, if they don't watch the news, which, you know, most kids don't sit and watch the news, they've got it on phones, they've got other kids telling them. Parents themselves need to find a way of making their kids understand safety without scaring them to death.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my only worry, that we jump in too soon and kids then are just
So then how
scared.
do we tackle it? What would you suggest?
I mean, I totally agree with what Coleen said about, you know, being very wary of putting anxiety and fear into 6-year-olds. You know, they're between 6 and 10-year-olds. I don't think they'd understand it and get it. And to be fair, if you're in that situation, I myself would have probably frozen, let alone a 6-year-old that doesn't know and can't comprehend the madness. I personally think that, you know, there aren't any deterrents for the knife crime has gone through the roof, but the crime is committed and then it seems like they get off with it. If somebody's died and what, you get a couple of years and a slapped wrist, that's not much of a deterrent for somebody to not do something, whereas when I was growing up, I'd be so scared to just go to the principal's office, the headmaster's office, to get into trouble with my family when I get back home.
And I don't know whether children would be able to absorb that kind of level of advice, even if you were to try and advise them what to do in this circumstance. First of all, they take the anxiety of their mum or dad even asking them to think about something that's so horrific. And so I feel like maybe school assemblies, or, you know, when they do safety week at school, like within that umbrella of conversation, they should maybe start placing more of these more current stories inside a good space which is called safety.
Mainly about safety, I think.
Yeah, but I think that schools have to be a safe place for kids to go. They have to be able to go into school and feel this is my home from home. So until every school in this country has knife detectors or knife wands and is going through... Kids now in primary schools are taking blades in because they're scared. And we know that's really on the increase. So not only has knife crime overall gone up to almost 50,000 incidents last year, which is shocking in itself, schools have started to install metal detectors, but not all of them. But they're installing metal detectors in primary schools and junior schools because kids are carrying blades because they are scared of other kids. And as Coleen has said, these incidents are very rare. But in April this year, someone went into a classroom in Wales and stabbed 2 teachers and a pupil. And so we've got to take drastic action. And the other thing, I think, is that my generation campaigned vociferously for defibrillators because we felt that we're getting heart attacks and we're not we're not getting emergency aid to it quickly enough. So defibrillators have now been installed in clubs and pubs and all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's really impacted on people's recovery rate. Now, if there were bleed kits and intensive education to teaching staff and supervisory staff in schools,
That would really help.
It would
everybody.
help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're obviously sending all our thoughts and families to all the victims.